Hello, welcome to All Things Tarot. My name is Ashala Yardley, and today I'd like to share with you my personal practices and protocols for cleansing and storing my tarot cards. Now, I've been teaching divination and tarot reading for almost 20 years, and I've actually written a book about tarot reading called Your Tarot Tools. I've written a two-part series. There's a volume 1 and a volume 2. Volume 1 is now out of print, but will be available in ebook format on my website March 2023. So see the link below to access that very valuable resource. This question has been asked so often over the years that I actually devoted a little section here in my volume 1 workbook, and I'm going to read to you what I wrote in this section. So the question is, how do I cleanse and store my deck? How you care for your tarot deck once you receive it is also a personal choice. Some readers insist that their complicated protocols are the only right way, and they're fiercely protective and energetically superstitious about these matters. I prefer to take the high road, knowing that the power of our beliefs and intentions centered in love is stronger than any negative energy. This is super important. That said, I feel it's only natural to care for our treasured possessions, just as we keep our precious jewelry in special boxes, cases, or bags. So we should honor the beauty and significance of our tarot decks. And just as we like to smudge or smoke clear our homes, cars, altar objects, and crystals with sweet smelling herbs, incense, or essential oils, so may we energetically freshen our cards from time to time. I also allow anyone who is respectful to touch my tarot cards once I've given my permission. Naturally, I expect everyone who touches my cards to wash their hands thoroughly first, myself included. I'm going to speak to you about that in a minute. If your cards ever get sticky feeling or grimy, it's probably time to retire them. And since they came from the elemental world, it may feel better to bury or burn them and let them return to source naturally, away from landfills or recycling depots. So that's what I said about it in my workbook. Now I'd like to talk to you about more specific ways to do some of this energetic clearing that I was describing. As I said before, to me, the most important thing is the state that you are in when you are preparing to read your cards. So regardless of how purified energetically and physically your cards are, if you're coming into it in a lower frequency state, then you're going to be attracting those kinds of energies to you. Similarly, even if you haven't had the time to properly cleanse your deck, your energy in itself has the effect. When you're vibrating and your frequency is at that level, as I said, the power neutral frequency of love, aligned with the greater good of all, this has the ability to clear your deck instantly. Let's look at some additional ways that you can restore that energetic freshness to your tarot cards and even to your own physical body as you're preparing to read and to your surroundings. So I'm just going to tilt the screen down here for a minute so you can have a look at my little array of magical objects. There we go. First of all, I want to bring your attention to essential oils. The one that I like to use is frankincense, and I like to just put a few drops of frankincense. You can also use cedar, pine, any oil that for you feels like it's energetically purifying. And I like to rub that in with my hands like this, you know, really getting the oils into my own hands. Sometimes I actually touch my heart chakra. I may touch the top of my head, run down my arms with that essential oil blend or the frankincense alone. You can create essential oil blends with different purifying oils that are specifically for this purpose, or you can just use one oil at a time. So that is a great way to start. And then of course, when you are touching your cards, you are gently infusing them with those oils. So before I go any further, I want to say the cleansing of your hands is such an important part of the process. Now, obviously, in this day and age, we know the importance of keeping our hands clean, about not spreading around anything that we don't want. However, there's another level metaphysically around the energy that our hands hold. I find that when I've been doing readings, even every single reading that I do, I can feel energetically almost like a stickiness at the end of that reading. Even if I've just washed my hands, literally the moment before I started the reading, by the end, I can feel an energetic residue. So I was taught years ago that it's really valuable to wash your hands, not only with you know, a nice natural soap, a nice natural biodegradable soap, but with cold water. Just like cold water closes our pores, it energetically clears things out of our hands as well. So starting with washing with cold water, and then perhaps applying an oil if that feels good. The next thing I want to go to is working with any sort of burnable smoke that is purifying. Now, here in North America, our Native American traditions have shown us that many of these practices with the groups that originate in these lands, they've often used a particular type of sage that is very strong smelling, and when burned can create a smoke that has that effect of energetically clearing things. So I just light my sage. I'm not going to light it right now, but I light it and I just hold it underneath my cards so the smoke comes up and surrounds the cards. And then I make sure that the sage is extinguished. I place it in a metal bowl so that it's safe. Some people put their sage or other burnable materials in shells, and what I've heard is that we are then elementally actually mixing water and fire, and that water and fire, when we're doing purification, would prefer to remain independent of each other, because in a way water cancels out the energy of fire. So I like to keep my sage and my burnables in either a metal container or a glass container. I have a feather here. This is what you can use to move the smoke as it's burning. So even if you have incense, for example, any sort of incense that smells like an energy that makes you feel clear-headed and uplifted is also going to clear energetically yourself, your space, your hands, and your cards. So the feather is really just to sweep the energy, the smoke, over your cards or your hands or the area that you're in. Next, I want to move on to supportive crystal energies that you can have in your space that help to clear and neutralize the energy in your cards. So my favorite is calcite. And here I actually have a large calcite disc. I use this at the end of the day when I've been doing readings to actually take my jewelry off and place on this calcite disc like so. And by doing that, I'm energetically clearing what is in my jewelry so that when I go to put it on the next day, it is not containing energetically the residue of any energy that I was moving in the readings the day before. So having a calcite disc is lovely for that purpose. And of course you can leave your cards sitting right on top of it. Also a calcite wand on the table. That's what this is. I like to even brush the calcite wand over the table, just like imagining that I'm energetically sweeping any negativity, any stuck energy from the cards and from the table. And finally, amethyst is one of our great allies. Amethyst in a room has the capacity to clear negativity and create a beautiful harmonic resonance aligned with the crown chakra, or the highest spiritual dimensions. So I like to have a piece of beautiful amethyst resting on my reading table, and in between doing readings I will often have my cards sitting on the calcite or next to the calcite like so, with the amethyst on top. And in effect, the calcite is clearing, the amethyst is also clearing, and it's also energetically charging or infusing my cards with that frequency of the highest spiritual dimension. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. And for more information regarding working with the tarot, you can access the resources that are at my website below, and also the workbook series, Your Tarot Tools Volume 1 and 2, which are available on my website. Blessings to you all.